Okay, okay.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this interaction between the Better by Design team and Vishwambhara for this position of growth hacker at Better by Design. So we're recording this interaction so that candidates have a transparent understanding of the expectations of Better by Design, right? Thank you for joining us, Vishwambhara. Thank you, Nawaz. Yeah, Vishwambhara, you can continue with your introduction. Yeah.
Thank you, Charan. Later, I got to know about data science. Later I got to know about DT. DT really it generated the curiosity inside me because it was not following the usual pattern where companies give you assignments. Later, they say prefer doing 3 rounds or maximum to 4 rounds. But here, it was completely new. It was completely new. The selection process, it took more than 1 week for me. And I really thoroughly enjoyed the process because they preferred certain qualities from us more than the skill set.
Hmm.
Qualities of learning, how we learn, how we are able to, uh, you know, understand the concepts of DT. And it's a basically exposure to DT, how it works. They are not exactly spoon feeding, but they are indirectly telling this is how we work. So I really enjoyed that process. I got to know more about DT in that selection process. Even after that 3 round, after completing all these rounds, later I was in 3 days observation. In 3 days observation, I participated in Socratic dialogue, and Socratic dialogue is something very, very interesting. Here, Socratic dialogues is question and answers, brief question and answers, which helps us to know ourselves how much we know about certain things. Right.
Hmm.
Usually, one thing we might feel we know, but when other person start asking question, we might think, okay, this can be viewed in a different direction. Okay,
Hmm.
this happens in that, and after that, when we understand it, we might think, okay, we have understood. But in DT, they prefer reflecting. Reflection is something we we understand it one in even deeper when we reflect on it, right? When we reflect on it, we can give examples. They prefer examples because when we give examples, it's logically we are understanding it, we are imbibing things, right? So practical applications of it, all those things, it's not based on bias. It's not based on, okay, I feel in a certain way. It's not that, but logically it works like this. This is how DT thinks.
Hmm.
And
So,
later,
Vishwambara, now would you want to go into your understanding of the role at BBD, your
sure,
understanding of BBD, and why you
sure,
want
sure,
to be a part of Better by Design? Yeah.
sure. Later I got to know about Better by Design because I, when I got to know about it, I really fascinated about it because it really generated a curiosity and interest. Just
Mhm.
because I completely in line with whatever BBD is doing. Because I've been thinking this from past few years, like how to, because our education system is more on memorizing things rather than application level. When we apply, only innovation comes in, right?
Hmm.
So I was planning out what DT is doing, right? It was
Hmm.
on a common note,
Hmm.
but when I got to know, okay, they are preferring fourth grade to eighth grade. That
Hmm.
is very interesting because it's the place where they start to think. Fourth to eighth grade is where children used to think,
Hmm.
start to think,
Hmm.
differently. They know about their goals and dreams and all. In
Hmm.
this age demography only they get to know. So you are focusing, you are focusing on that. That really excited me, and the things you are doing to create their innovator mindset.
Hmm.
Innovator mindset only comes through hands-on experience. And
Hmm.
you are providing, it's not just random PPTs and all. You are
Right.
provided in, and you are focusing on children. Children likes fun. You are keeping it in a very light-hearted manner, and you have come up with a GIC. where you are presenting them certain challenges in a very game manner, you know, level wise. Challenges will be more, and at the final round, they'll be providing a solution for the real life problem. And
Hmm.
I have seen the examples in your website where people have come up amazing. It was amazing to see because I really thought, okay, I missed this. If I was kid, I wanted to do those
Give
things
some
because
examples of what you saw on the website, Vishwambara. Yeah.
sure, sure. Entangler, I found out Entangler, where kids usually don't like to comb their hair, so
Hmm.
they come up with a mechanical thing where it combs their hair,
Right.
and uh, a dustbin compressor. It's a very important because even my home suffers from it. Like
Right.
some leak and some smell will be coming out of it,
Hmm.
so it really providing a solution. It's very important to
So,
children to understand.
Shambhara, one question I have for you is, I
Yeah,
think 2 days back when I told you about BBD, you asked me for some time. You went through the website and you came back and said this is an organization you want to associate with.
yeah,
Nawaz would be very keen to know why exactly you're connected to BBD. And the more specific you are, the
hmm.
better it'll be because if you're not specific, it'll come across like flattery. If
Sure,
you're
sure,
not specific,
sure.
we understand the genuine interest that you might have. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. uh, the major thing is the focus towards the children. It is considering them through, it is already, it's not performing any random things, but it has a process. They believe in process. They conduct events. They have created city where they host events over there to make them grow in their innovation journey.
Hmm.
So more than focusing on what they have already, because everyone has their ideas, but how to translate into the actions, and they are preferring to do in this already mentioned way, where they are providing certain tools for them, they are providing mentorship, they are helping them to build the collaborative mindset, and they are also building the appreciating nature, basically leadership qualities. Leadership qualities only comes through when we work around people. If I work alone, it won't come. Right. So these are all the pointers which I found. Yeah, yes, I want to work with work with this company.
Hmm.
So according to my role, I wanted to know about my role. I got a brief about my role, and it excites me as well because I'll be managing. Right. I'll be in school management also, like onboarding things,
Hmm.
in a logistic approaches also. I will be heading teams also, and overall I'll be uh, making sure that things run within the company smoothly. And majorly I'm focusing on the growth because they are scaling up, right? To It worked in Hyderabad, but if I want to work the same thing in a Bangalore will be a different place and different people. So according to those, how data tells me certain things, data will give me. So based on data also, based on our understanding of the place also, we can give a better solutions.
Vishwambara, I have one last question before Nawaz jumps in.
Yeah.
Uh, why this role? I mean, why BBD you've told? Why this particular role? How is this going to help you in the long term with respect to how you imagine your career? How does this role, how does this role sit into your career vision of what you are imagining for your career?
Basically, it is providing me a leadership qualities, right? If I do this, I'll be a better leader. I'm very pretty sure about it. And I'm more into managing things and all, more than technical thing. I like to do managing things more than technical. That doesn't mean I don't like technical. Yes, it is based on technical only because I'm from data background. I'll be using data analysis for, it's like a proof giving. I'm giving a proof. I have proof. And with this proof of data, this is how it is all working. I can bring up some ideas to the company where they can work on.
Yeah.
So this is where I want to head, because I have some dreams to achieve in future. So it will be helpful for me. This will be a great experience. I'm pretty sure of it.
So, Nawaz, before you come in, just wanted to tell two
I
quick.
was just going to comment, so yeah, go on.
Yeah. So, Vishwambara, two pieces. First of all, thanks a lot for very elaborate answers. Firstly, when you talk of leadership, I think, BBD is going to enable you to become a city manager, be
Yeah,
responsible for everything with respect to one city. So I think since you'll be put in the hot seat, of course, not left alone with support of both BBD and DT, that will actually help in honing the leadership qualities while handling this responsibility. That was the first piece I wanted to say, that the best way to learn swimming is to jump into the swimming pool, right? So this is the opportunity to go take the responsibility of a city and develop your skills there. Part one, I wanted to say. And part two, more on the data front, because this is where deep thought will play a bigger role. While on the education, operations, and all, it's BBD who will be mentoring. But on the data front, I think, look, obviously, an event of this magnitude is going to churn a lot of data, right? So that's where data engineering, more than data analytics, I think data engineering comes into picture of how you move the data around. And typically at DT, we really like Google Sheets because that's on the cloud and it can collaborate and so on. So I think we're going to transform the data, massage it a bit here and there, and when there are gaps, maybe estimate. So there's a lot of scope in terms of how we can play with data to ensure all this leadership that BBD requires, that leadership that you want to hone, that leadership can be delivered through this data. So your career, as far as data is concerned, I think will go fine because you're as long as you're working with large data, and as long as you have a real world problem to solve, which will give you a motivation to work on the data. The real world problem gives you the motivation, and the large data gives you that scope for data engineering. I think that will ensure that both your dreams on the leadership front as well as the technical front can be carried together. On this note, I hand it over to Nawaz for the interaction.
Firstly, I think what stood out for me, Vishwambara, was the fact that you spent some time into research. So I really appreciate that. The fact that you read about what we do, and you also remembered a few examples, which is great. I appreciate that effort that you put in. Specifically, I just have two questions to be very pinpoint with you. First is, I think, like in your understanding of the role, right? Let's take it this way. Let's first do. I want to understand. You said you went through a lot of activities with DT that you really enjoyed. So it'll be really nice for me to learn about, apart from the Socrates talk, the example that you gave me. If you can just tell me about any other activity that involved, a lot of communication and coordination with other people. I want
sure.
to know about how that activity went and what your experience was.
Yeah.
And the second part about your understanding of the role, if you could just very simply explain to me what you think your day-to-day life would look like with BBD, that will be great.
We'll
Yeah.
go
That's
one at
pretty
once,
much.
Vishwambara.
Yeah.
We'll go one at once. Can you answer the first question to begin with?
Sure, Tarun. Basically,
You can
in
take time to think if you want, like a couple of
no, no,
minutes. Don't worry
sure.
about it. Yeah.
In DT, we have two major tools like Thread Builder and Rigor Builder.
Okay.
In Thread Builder is something we because we tend to listen partially, like
Mm,
passive listening.
mm,
We don't listen to completely. We tend to forget details in
mm,
between.
mm,
So thread builder helps us to, capture those details,
mm,
and those details can be interpreted in that thread builder only. We can interpret those things also.
mm,
And also understanding the person, what and his intent behind it.
mm,
That will be the most important, because we tend to focus on the words and some miscommunication might happen.
mm,
So there are many options there. What it is intended to.
mm,
So is it question or is it answer? Is it insight they are giving? Where
mm,
it is coming from? So
mm,
this build a strong understanding of the concept other person is talking about. And more than that, in rigor building builds a reasoning skills. So if I found out something, some word, some sentence in the thread builder, found out interesting, so we rigor build it. So we rigor in a sense, we try to reason it first.
Mm.
So counter reason it first, counter reason it later, because we through this we can get through a different dimensions. We can bring a different dimension. If we question ourselves, okay, we are agree on this certain topic, so why are you agreeing with this? You might have seen other options, other examples in your real life where it is not, might be not working out. So
Mm.
you can also counter trigger it, and this builds a strong logical reasoning and strong critical mindset. So
Mm.
we can
Vishwambhara,
think, ah,
sorry to interrupt. I
yeah,
think Nawaz's question, if I understood correctly, was activities that involved coordination with people. So this was you interacting with the software, no? So could
yeah,
you take him through, say, a couple of activities that involved coordination with people, if at all there were such activities? Yeah.
sure, sure. Basically, we in the 3 days observation, especially, they have let us to go through all the rooms and to know what people are doing.
Mm.
And they have gave us permission to ask anything if we want, to know their process, to understand them better. So I got to know more about how data champion should think, um, through one of the guy in dating, and it was very interesting, by the way. And he gave me more insight how some, because they will be always working, right? So they can give you more insight to handling data, especially in handling data, how we can handle data accordingly, what are the important steps you need to think, and the understanding of the business is necessary. These are all the things happens. And there will be different top workshops will be conducted. Workshops in a way, it's not very technical. I attended one workshop where it talked about importance of like-minded group, right? These kind of things are very important, because at certain point of time while we are working, we get to numb about all these other aspects which are most necessary, more
Hey,
than technical
Vishwambhara,
skills. Yeah,
again, to be a little sharp on the question's focus,
yeah,
something that involved you coordinating with people.
So I'll
yeah.
just rephrase it again for making it easier, I think. I mean, I'd like to know if there was any activity that involved you working with other people or your peers
Yeah,
and trying to chase a single outcome. Like there are multiple people, everyone's working towards the same goal. You have your own role in that
yeah.
particular project. Was there any such task or
So
activity that?
Nawaz, I don't think the selection process involved anything of this kind in the sense that let me give you a quick overview. So in
Sure.
round one, he was just given like 10 situations and
Hmm.
he was asked in this situation, what will you do?
Okay.
So that was more of theoretically answering something. That was round one.
Right.
Round two, he was given a dashboard to build on Google Sheet.
Okay.
We gave a description of what the dashboard is like, and he had to enter the formulae and build a dynamic dashboard. That was more of a test of his technical skills.
Got it.
Round three is where he was asked to write a reflection based on a six step framework.
Right.
What is the process? What were the bottlenecks? How did you fix that bottlenecks? What is your celebration and so on? So there was a six-step framework.
Hmm.
Round four is observation, which is like a virtual tour of deep thought, where
Hmm.
it's given an opportunity to go to any of our breakout rooms, meet any of our people, see them at work, and at
Hmm.
the end of the day, write a journal describing what he was actually able to learn by seeing people at work. And some of them also, when they were bored, they had an interaction with him. When they were taking a break from work, they had an interaction with him and gave him some suggestions on how he could grow as a data champion. While
Hmm.
round one, round two, round three involved activities that he had to perform and he had to present. Round
Got it.
four is where he got to interact with people but didn't really get any work to do. It was more about him just going,
Cool.
interacting.
Yeah, I think that answers my question.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the second half of the question, which is about
Yeah.
how do you imagine your day-to-day work when you specifically take on this role of managing a city? What all
Mm.
do you think will be a part of your day-to-day functioning?
Sure. Our target audience is in a school basically.
Hmm.
So we need to talk to them, of course. You
Hmm.
know, make sure there is no miscommunication because we can communicate in a first hand in a through mails or formal way, but
Hmm.
still there are chances that they might neglect it or something might happen. So we have to make sure that they are on board with us.
Right.
So that will be my one thing, and through data,
Who do you think when you say we'll communicate with schools? Who in the schools do you think we would have to communicate with?
can you repeat it again?
I mean, you said we will have to coordinate with schools, right? In the schools,
Yeah.
who do you think that we normally coordinate with? Who can like help us take things forward?
School management only, school
Right.
management people,
Hmm.
they are the first contact.
Right.
Um, so later, inside the company, I'll be handling scheduling
Hmm.
and make things go and reach properly, and things are getting executed properly.
Hmm.
Through data, I can come up with an idea or solution if things don't go well in a
Hmm.
certain place. So
Hmm.
this is what happened. This can be changed in a certain way. So
Hmm.
that I can do through logistics
Hmm.
and maintaining control and
Hmm.
standards of delivery. Delivery is most important thing.
Hmm.
So is it delivered properly? You know.
Hmm.
Uh, Later, of course, mentoring, uh, training our executives
And
and
what do you think we deliver? By the way, just so.
no, yeah, that is, basically we are not delivering any such product, but we are delivering a model. We are pitching it for a model, right? We
Right.
are helping students to learn in an
Right.
environment where
Hmm.
they can become a leader, good leader and innovator.
Hmm.
So that's our idea. That is our product. That should be delivered. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. All right. So, did you? I mean, when you actually went through that, if you had to frame your own KPIs for that role, do you think you'll? I mean, let's say if you had to tell me uh, what would tell us or what metric would tell us, because data is something that you're like really keen on. If
Yeah.
you can tell me as a part of your role, which would be the key metrics that would tell us how the performance is going, what would those be in your opinion?
Students, students reflection, students result, of course,
Okay.
and
So I'm assuming student outcomes, like the kind of
outcomes,
things that they.
outcomes.
Okay.
Uh,
All
and
right.
how are they well received in a schools? The numbers of schools entering
Right.
are interested, right? How much we are able to cover in a city? There will be many schools, right?
Right.
And how much we are able to cover,
Hmm.
and how much we had in our mind, how much it reached. If
Okay.
there is a mismatch, we can work on it.
Okay.
Yeah. And coming to there will be many departments involved,
Hmm.
right? How they are doing well, right?
Hmm.
Teaching department will be there.
Hmm.
If if it is a um, point of problem, you know,
Hmm.
if there is something which we need to take care of, we
Hmm.
can also through reviews and all,
Hmm.
because parents can give reviews and students can also give you reviews. Through
Right.
that also we can help them. Yeah.
Right. Actually, that's something that we take very seriously. We make sure that all our stakeholders give us really concrete feedback that we work on. So there is feedback from the schools that we take. There is feedback from children that we take. And I think one stakeholder that we haven't spoken about is parents, because when you're working with children this young, the decision making is normally done by parents. So
Sure,
they as a stakeholder can't be ignored at all.
sure.
Um, I think yeah, like I have clarity on like how you've understood things and all. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to take them on.
Uh, yes. And what are all the, in internship period, 6 month
Hmm.
internship period,
Hmm.
the training will be there. And am I supposed to, involved with
Hmm.
few people, right?
Right.
Or I didn't quite get it because I thought it's just a training.
Mm-hmm.
Later 6 months, I might have done it. I have get exposure to your people in a
Hmm.
VBT.
Hmm.
So is it that way, or in 6 months only I'll be exposed to project?
Yeah, so
Hmm.
Shwambara, in the 6 months period itself, you will be driving the entire project in a
Okay,
city.
sure, sure, sure.
And at the end of 6 months, should BBD like your work,
Works.
BBD can absorb you for a more long-term role to drive the organization's growth further.
Sure, sure.
But initially, the conversation is for a 6 months internship. With BBD being a growing organization, we'd like to take the further conversation maybe after 3, 4 months once you get start with the internship.
Okay.
But to answer your question, in the 6 months itself, you'll be taking on one city and
Okay.
leading the
Sure,
city.
sure. And especially first contact is there, no? The management people we talk to. And
Hmm.
what are all your metrics that this is the school we are targeting?
Hmm.
How will you come up with that?
All right.
Like,
So normally when we come up with a list of target schools, we first look at international schools in that particular venue. As in, let's say we're doing it in Bangalore, we would first try and look for the international schools in Bangalore. And the reason we do that is because in our experience of working with schools, we've understood that programs like ours are appreciated by international schools more than they are appreciated by other schools. I mean, the other schools also will get there, but then what you call as the early adopters, that is essentially schools that have exposure to programs like this.
yeah.
So while we've shortlisted a list of international school, our immediate next step, we go into trying to see what are the programs that they offer beyond academics.
Okay. Okay.
And once we get a sense of the schools that are doing a lot more beyond academics, that actually tells us what our target school is. Uh,
Okay.
so now that you know, like this is our target school, we reach out to them, we try and onboard them. And the view that I would like a city manager to have is, can you actually give me 2 minutes? I think there's somebody at the door. Just a second.
Sure, sure, sure.
You're enjoying the conversation?
Yeah, Tarun.
I'm back. All right. So what I was saying is like when somebody is a city manager, there are multiple layers that they are responsible for. All right. Are you with us, Vishwambara, or
Yeah,
are
yeah,
you
yeah.
stuck?
I'm with
Oh,
you.
okay. No, it looked like your screen was stuck. So
No, no, no.
sure. So the multiple layers that there are first like let's say we split the entire thing into stakeholders. Okay. So
Mhm.
there are schools as stakeholders that we're working with. Then there are children as stakeholders that we're working with. Then there are parents as stakeholders that we're working with. And then there will be a venue partner as a stakeholder that we're working with. As in a particular city, we would be like hosting the program not in any school but actually at like a centralized venue, or there can even be multiple venues.
Okay,
So our job is to make sure that all of the stakeholders are aligned to that one goal. All
okay,
right.
okay.
And there is data flowing in from every stakeholder, which actually informs decisions to other stakeholders.
True.
So, for example, when we're working with a school, the data that we're receiving in terms of number of students that are participating and all of that gives us data into telling that, okay, if this is the number of students that there are, let's say our conversion percentage is about 10%. So 10% of these people will actually convert, which means I should be in a position to communicate to the venue that 10% of this strength is coming at your place. So arrangements for that need to be made like clearly. So basically, bringing all the stakeholders together and trying to do that one project is essentially, I think, what the biggest or the core functionality of that particular JD or that person is going to be.
Okay.
Yeah, so I hope like that explains what
Yeah,
the
yeah,
topic is about.
sure, sure.
And then
Thank.
like even inside the schools, if you look at, you'll have multiple secondary stakeholders. Like maybe our initial conversations will be with management, but somebody driving it inside we'll need an internal champion to drive things. So
True.
that will be an educator that will do it for us, or like maybe a point of contact that the school would nominate and things like that.
Yeah,
So a lot of what we would need would be like a really good understanding, like what you mentioned about your learnings from an activity, which helped you understand how we could actively listen rather than passively listening.
nice.
A lot of that needs to be actually put into effect, and you understand the needs and pain points of all of these stakeholders and try and bridge them all together.
Yeah,
And your question about the duration and all was clear, I believe.
yeah, yeah. It was clear.
Cool. Anything else? I'm happy to answer them.
No, it answered my all question, Nawaz. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah,
Thanks, Vishwambara. Nice talking to you. And like I said, I really appreciate the effort that you put into learning about the company and things like that.
thank you, Nawaz. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Vishwambara. Thank you, Nawaz. I'm stopping the recording.